G'day mate, 40 here. So, an analysis that I increasingly rely upon these days is to ask of the live streamer, the pundit, the intellectual who's making pronouncements about the state of the world, or the clergyman, like, how does what they say advance their self-interest? No, not everything these people do is primarily about advancing their self-interest. But it's a pretty powerful form of analysis. I'm listening on Audible to the new Larry McMurtry biography. Larry McMurtry wrote the novel Terms of Endearment, The Last Picture Show, the Lonesome Dove series, and this biography portrays him going around to all these events, honoring him, like he wins all these various literary awards, and he's like crying about the death of the book. So he's over 70 at this point, and what he's primarily crying about is the death of his own conception, of his own hero system, of his own importance, of his own life, because we're now 17 years on and we're not living through the death of the book. Right? There are certain things that books do better than movies and TV. Right? Fiction in particular gives you interior points of view that movies and TV can't provide. Right? Books can give you detailed attention to markers of status, right? In a way that movies and TV are just not well equipped. So different mediums work differently for different things. Right? There's no need to start crying about the death of the book. Right? The book is not diminished because it is consumed as an audible product, or if it is read on a Kindle. I remember when I was interviewing authors, and this one author was quite dismayed that I'd consumed her book as an audible book rather than reading it. I recognize that there are some differences in the experience, but what unifies the experience of consuming a book, whether you're reading it or listening to it, is far more powerful than what distinguishes it. Remember how upset many filmmakers were about the growth of TV and how it destroyed the experience of watching their films. Well, now people have increasingly sophisticated home electronic systems. Like I've got a 75-inch big screen myself. It's quite a pleasure to consume movies, TV, live sports on it. I agree. I love hearing the thoughts of the characters as they act. It's huge in understanding psychology. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Chase. So, yeah, there are things that books simply do better than other mediums, and there are things that other mediums do better than books. But I remember reading an essay by some 75-year-old Jewish academic bemoaning the death of American Jewish literature, that it was on its last legs. And that's been going on for decades, right? So what often happens is men get old and they start bemoaning part of culture, the death of some significant part of culture, and they equate it with themselves, just like Hitler equated Germany with himself, right? And just like Donald Trump seems like such a nihilist that it's hard to believe that he believes in anything much greater than himself. So too, this one particular American Jewish academic was bemoaning the death of American Jewish literature, which has kept on rolling pretty strong for the past couple of decades. And when I pointed out to him that in one of his critiques of one particular piece of fiction that the opposite was true, he admitted, well, I may have dropped a stitch there. But self-interest is so overwhelming, all right, that one has to take account for it before then weighing up the worth of the critique. I remember reading about 13, 14, 15 years ago an essay on the death of Jewish blogging, and pointed out I was still blogging on Jewish topics, and the essence of the critique was that if you participate in Jewish life, people have learned how to exact pain on you, you exact pain on others. Well, that's not true of blogging, that's true of life in general. If you hurt people, they'll find ways to hurt you back. And that's true even if you're hurting them for a righteous cause, right? Say you're revealing their bad deeds, or you're putting an end to their scams, right? Just an iron law of life that when you hurt people, they'll hurt you back. That's why one of the key aspects of recovery in the 12-step movement is that we're no longer at war with anyone or anything. Because if you're trying to maintain your sobriety, you have to kind of get out of feuds and precipitating recriminations against yourself that will then trigger you into breaking your sobriety. So when I mentioned that I was still blogging, the author of the essay said, yeah, but you fight back hard. He said, when people go after you, you're equally vicious in going after them. So yeah, that's true. And it's different being a bachelor with no kids. All right, I'm not as vulnerable. I can only imagine that once one starts having kids, there must be a tremendous feeling of vulnerability, because the more you love, the more you're vulnerable. The normal natural thing is to love your child, and then you want to reduce as much as possible all threats and dangers to your child, and you just get a much increased sense of your own vulnerability. You can't even get your child to follow your own directions, to look both ways before crossing the street. So I was walking along this very street yesterday, and this mother was like yelling at a kid, stop, 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 and I was just oblivious. I kept going, and then the kid rolled out of the driveway on his skateboard and just like collided right into me, because the kid was not interested in listening to his parent.